Okay guys, here's our introduction video for our Unit 6, all talking about nomenclature, which is a fancy word for naming. As we go into this unit, one thing to remember that this is a unit that requires a mastery test, which means that you need to get an 80% or better on our exam in this unit to pass it. And it means if you don't get an 80% that you are going to be retaking it until you do, and I can help you get to that point. As we go through this naming unit, there is different segments or different systems that we're going to use to name our different compounds. And within each system is a different set of rules. So our key piece, or our most important thing to remember, is that when we're naming our substances, we really need to be able to identify what kind of substance we're working with. If we take a look, we're going to have rules for molecules, ionic compounds, acids, and organic compounds. Organic, we're just going to barely touch on organic, just give you your most basic organic type of compounds there. Because we have 4 different types of compounds, we're going to have 4 different sets of rules to apply. So you have to be able to pick out which set of rules is a proper set of rules by the compound that you have. To do that, we need to have a system to separate them out. So how do we distinguish them? Well, we have a series of questions you ask at the beginning of any one that you're working with. First question you ask, does it start with a metal? We should know the difference between metals and nonmetals at this point in the trimester. So first of all, look at the compound, look at the first element there. If it starts with a metal, the answer is yes. So then you go to the rules for ionic compounds. If the answer is no, then you move on and say, well, does it start with hydrogen? If the answer is yes, follow the rules for naming acids. If it does not start with hydrogen, so your answer is no, then you ask yourself, is it a hydrocarbon? Now, a hydrocarbon is basically a carbon chain that contains a lot of hydrogens on it. So you're looking for something that starts with carbon and then has a bunch of hydrogens on it. It may also have oxygen, but usually it's just a sequence of carbons and hydrogens. If it's that, then you're going to follow organic rules. If it is not a hydrocarbon, then you're going to follow your rules for simple molecules. Okay, so let's take a look at just some examples on the board, and we'll see which category each one would fall into. So we're going to start with, we write down 4 different possibilities. Let's do these 4 possibilities. So we have C2H5OH, H2CO3, AlCl3, and N2O5. So let's start with the first one. And we ask ourselves, does it start with a metal? This is carbon, not a metal, so no. Does it start with hydrogen? No. Is it a hydrocarbon? Well, we have carbon with a bunch of hydrogens and an oxygen here. So yes, it's a hydrocarbon. So we're going to name this as an organic and follow those rules. Go to our next possibility. Does it start with a metal? No, it does not. Does it start with hydrogen? Yes, it does. So since it starts with hydrogen, we know that we need to name this according to rules for acids. Go down to our next example. Does it start with a metal? Well, this is aluminum. Aluminum's a metal, so yes. So we're going to name this according to our ionic rules. Next example. Does it start with a metal? This is nitrogen. Nitrogen is not a metal. Does it start with hydrogen? Nope. Is it a hydrocarbon? There's no carbon even here, so it's not a hydrocarbon. So because it's none of the others, what you have left is just a simple molecule. So we'll name this how we deal with simple molecules. Okay? For every one of these that you work with, you have to go through that mental process of saying, which one of these 4 rule systems are we going to be working with? Okay. Now, once we're able to do this, the next step is, what are the rules for organics? What are the rules for acids? What are the rules for ionics? And what are the rules for molecules? You will see that there are several segments to this video that are below this that bring you through the rules for all 4 of these systems. Okay. So once you know which system to use, go to the next segment and figure out what the rules are so you can name your compound properly. Thank you.